In his first week at the CIA, rookie lawyer Owen Hendricks' boss, Walter Nyland, throws him into the deep end.
May I just remind you that revealing classified information is in violation of 18 U.S. Code Section 798 and will absolutely result in not only criminal sanctions, but potential reprimand and censure in the Senate. Also, that type of shit just looks really bad in a campaign video against you.
When Owen gets back to Langley, his two colleagues, Violet and Lester, give him all their gray mail cases, a large file of people who have threatened to expose the CIA. Owen's job is to review each case and flag any viable threats, considering most are whack jobs and conspiracy nuts. Owen flags a letter from a woman named Max Meladze, who threatens to expose the CIA if she isn't released from a federal prison in Phoenix for murder. Owen finds a CIA guy to help him figure out the codename of the handler Meladze is threatening to expose.
There's no way anyone outside the agency should know a classified agency cryptonym and an officer's pseudonym. But it's possible she was a hip pocket asset, so there wouldn't be a file on her and no way to ID her case officer.
Why would her handler soft file her in the first place?
She could have been a new source he hadn't fully vetted.
With that level of institutional knowledge?
No. That's troubling.
Owen finds one of the officers Max exposed, Don Gelbane, is working an op at a black site in Yemen. Violet and Lester tell Owen to ride coach to Yemen, but don't explain how international travel works for the CIA, causing Owen to have a rude awakening when he arrives in Yemen.
There was no cable traffic about your trip, no clearance from the ambassador or diplomatic cover. You're an idiot, or you're just pretending to be one. You're gonna tell me what you're really doing in my black site, or the PSO's gonna get an anonymous tip that you're up to no good. And you're gonna end up with a cattle prod in one end and a hollow point in the other.
Don claims to have never met Max, but remembers her being a major player in Belarus and having serious connections in the Russian mafia. Don also claims not to remember who Max's handler was. Don apologizes for the interrogation and advises Owen to start figuring out how the CIA works. Owen gets no time to sleep when he returns to Washington because his boss wants him to go to Phoenix and meet with Meladze. Owen tells Max that if she can get him the alleged CIA documents she is threatening to expose and they're authentic, he will help her get out of prison. Nyland tells Owen to reach out to the Phoenix division of the CIA to help secure the documents, but Owen decides to do it himself. Two armed men approach Owen, and a chase ensues. The bag he grabs is full of money, but Max booby-trapped it with acid, which gets into the gangster's eyes, allowing Owen to grab the bag and get away. At the end of episode 1, Owen agrees to help get Max out of prison. In episode 2's Cold Open, a scene from 5 years earlier in Minsk, Belarus, shows how Max served as the Russian mafia's go-between with the corrupt military general. After Max is nearly assassinated by the mob, her handler offers to relocate her to Phoenix. Max gets shanked in the yard, then pulls her shank and stabs the shit out of her attacker. Owen negotiates a truce with Telco in exchange for Max's money. Owen searches for 100 misspellings of Max's name and finds one case that hadn't been purged from the CIA's database, leading him to a case officer in Vienna named Xander Goy. Xander Goy claims not to be involved with Max directly, even though it was revealed in the Cold Open that he was. Xander says he heard Max started running her own ops with agency assets.
So an unvetted asset was just allowed to handle other assets. That means that she knows the identities of most, if not all, of our spies in Belarus and Russia.
When Owen gets back from Lebanon, the Attorney General is waiting in his office. Owen tells him that he needs to throw out Max's case because she poses a threat to national security if she doesn't get released from prison. Max figures out that her old handler's name is Xander Goy and sends him some pastries. Don Gelbane, the same woman who ripped Owen's fingernail off with the pliers in episode 1, visits Langley and tells Owen that getting the Attorney General to drop the charges is no good because it will reek of CIA intervention.
Meladze back into the field as an asset would get us direct access into Russian intelligence.
Owen tells the Attorney General he no longer needs his help right after the AG mentions a witness.
Next time you need a favor from the Justice Department, punch yourself in the face instead.
Yes, sir.
When Owen tells Max that people at the agency remember what a good asset she was, Max admits that she sent Xander Goy a hostile note and fears it's just a ploy to release her from prison so they can kill her off American soil. Max's friend from prison, who was nearly beaten to death by the guy Max killed, finds who the witness is and where he lives. When Owen interviews the witness, an assassin sent by Max starts shooting up the witness's trailer. He calls Max, who can't call off the hit, but gives him advice on how to fight off his attacker. He busts through the toilet with the witness and drives off covered in shit.
You are operations problem now.
What, you think the minefield has gone away? No one else will help you navigate it.
When the Phoenix agents bring Max to her house, she tells them she needs to sleep and escapes with a bag of cash and guns through a secret passageway on the other side of a trapdoor.
It's most likely a power play, trying to show us that we don't control her.
Max finds Telko and tells him that she's offering his boss her untraceable safe house connect. Telko and his goon conspire to kidnap and torture Max until she gives them her connect. Max ends up kicking their asses and tells them the price has gone up to $6 million. Max drags Owen back into her case when she contacts him directly.
This is another lecture about leverage. I get it. Max has the better gun.
Max is the better gun, a conduit to the new head of Russian intelligence. You're the expendable gun that I am using to get her.
Dawn tells one of her goons to shadow Owen in Phoenix because she suspects something is going on between him and Max. When Owen tries to act tough and bring Max to a day's end, Max does not put up with his shit, demanding he get them a suite at the fancy hotel because the CIA needs her more than she needs them.
I have eyes on them. There's a problem with this card.
So they're definitely sleeping together.
Inside the hotel suite, Max attempts to seduce Owen, who tries his hardest not to succumb to her advances. Max gets Owen to meet with Telko, and unbeknownst to Owen, Telko brings him to meet with his jefe. Miraculously, Telko's boss doesn't bust Owen's head open with a not-so-gently used ball-peen hammer. Owen manages to sell the cartel Max's clean safe house connect, and promises of lucrative inroads to the Russian mob. Max takes a bunch of energy drinks to screw with the polygraph test. Gilbane releases the pictures of Owen getting a hotel with Max, and his boss hooks him up to a polygraph test. He passes the polygraph, and the CIA approves the op to insert Max back into Belarus. They need another $3 million to bribe the new mafia capo, and they can't tell the CIA what they need the money for. So they work on getting Max's frozen bank account sanctions lifted. Owen gets Terrence's friend at the Treasury Department to lift the sanctions for 1 hour if he gets Owen to set him up on a date with Terrence. In Geneva, Switzerland, Owen's purpose is to pose as Max's boy toy for the weekend, while securing the money from her sanctioned Swiss bank account. After buttering up Owen with the new watch, Max finally seduces him. The sanctioned times get screwed up, so Owen sends Salazar to wake up Linus to lift the sanctions at the right time in Switzerland. Linus tells him that there's nothing he can do about it. Anna talks Terrence into flying to Geneva to help Owen get out of whatever classified trouble he's gotten himself into. Terrence tries to talk Hannah out of it, but she ends up dragging him along for the ride. The blonde woman who's been stalking Owen and Max waits in their room and stabs Goy when he walks in on her. During the struggle, Xander falls to his death. Hannah and Terrence arrive at the hotel, right as the police get to the scene. Hannah sees Owen, and he thinks he saw her too. When Owen turns his phone on because he's worried that he saw Hannah, Max throws it out the window, reminding him that the phone is a tracking device. While Max is bribing her way back into the Russian mob's good graces, Max's enemies show up.
Off this channel.
No, we have a serious problem. Do you not hear me?
Why you never bring a lawyer on an op?
Owen sees them coming and runs towards them. He knocks one of the thugs out with a metal pole and grabs his machine gun. The Russian Max is meeting with hears the gunfire and she gets in a shootout with his men. Owen comes into the building and shoots one of the assailants with the stolen machine gun. Max gets shot but manages to save Owen before he gets choked out. She shoots the Russian kingpin and she and a shell-shocked Owen escape in a BMW. Owen throws himself out of the car and tells Max he's through with her and the agency. He walks off, leaving Max up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Max calls Dawn and tells her that Owen is a problem, but she is tracking him through the watch she gave him. Owen calls Hannah, and they plan to meet at the War Memorial in Prague. Right as Owen approaches Hannah, kidnappers throw him in a car. Owen wakes up in a room tied to a chair with Max. Then it's revealed that the blonde woman is Max's daughter, Carolina, and Carolina shoots Max in the chest.
Who are you? And what the fuck are you doing running around with my mother?